Hello guys, how are you? I hope finding you well. Well, welcome to another flipping class session. Today we're gonna learn the basics of Illustrator. Okay, so let's continue with the objective. For this session, the objective is to understand the basic Illustrator tools used to create vectorized elements. Okay, we will get familiar with the interface, although we will learn how to create layers, how the selection tool works, how to create shapes, how the pen tool works, and finally how we can add and edit text over our files. Okay, we will develop these two exercises for this session. First, we will vectorize your logo, and second, we will build a business card. Okay, as you can see here, there are two different elements because this is the front side of the card and this is the back side of the card. Okay, in the front side, you will include your logo, your web page address, your name, and in the back side of your business card, you will include a phrase with which you identify. Okay, the phrase can be your own, but if it don't is your own, please give credit to the author. Although you need to include your institutional account and a background, okay, in both cases. So let's get started. Perfect, guys. Okay, so the next step is to open Adobe Illustrator and create a new document. As the same of Photoshop, we can create a new document by clicking here in New or going over here in File and then clicking over New File. Okay, and now another window will appear. Okay, as the same as the last tutorial, here we have all the recent documents or the recent layouts that we have used in the past. Okay, here we'll have the saved works, and here a different templates, okay, of different artworks. For example, because we are going to work in web or for a web page, that will be your web page, we will select common and leave all this thing as defaults, okay? And then we will click over here in create. Okay. Once our file is created, you can move, okay, your workspace by pressing the spacing bar in your keyboard, and then this little hand will appear. This indicates that you are allowed by clicking over the space of the working space, you can drag it and move it, okay, all around this canvas. Although, if you release the spacebar, the little hand will disappear. For example, if you want to make zoom in or zoom out, you can do it by pressing Alt, holding it, and then scroll, okay, your mouse in and scroll your mouse, making zoom out. Okay. Although you can control the zoom by numerical precision by going over here and increase this scale. For example, 200% will scale all the working area at the double size. Okay, let's leave it at 100% so we can see all the space we have available to work. Perfect. So the first tool I want to show you is how to create layers. We have to go over here to this window and then here search for layers and click over layers. And if you can see the layer tab will appear over here. Okay, so now this is just the same as in Photoshop. We can create layers by clicking over this icon. We can create as many as we need it, although we can rename it by click twice over the layer and then this window will appear, and for example we can rename the layer. For example, let's rename this with like low. Okay, and then we just need to click OK, and as you can see the name in the layer has changed. Okay, but for to start working I will delete all these layers because I'm not using anymore, and I will be working in this I'll be working in this layer number 1. Okay, so here in the left section you can find all the tools you need to edit, to transform, and to create objects. To show you how the selection tool works, I will begin by creating a shape. Here in this icon of a rectangle we have the default shapes we can create in Illustrator. Okay, if you click and hold, then this menu will appear. Okay, we can create rectangles. We can create rectangles with rounded edges. We can create ellipse and circles, polygons, stars, and etc. Well, let's start with the basics. Okay, let's create a rectangle. To create a rectangle, we need to select a point of beginning, hold the click, and then drag the mouse. Okay, and now there is our rectangle. As you can see, this rectangle has no fill color. Okay, it's just the outline in black. To change this, we can select this tool, that is the selection tool. Okay, it appears like a black arrow icon here. Select the shape and go over here. Okay, this one is the fill color and this one is the outline color. For example, if we want to change the fill color so we can better identify this shape, we need to click twice over here and then this other window will appear. And for example, I would like to change the color to red, and now we have changed the fill color of this shape. Okay, although we can change the width of the outline. Okay, we can go here to stroke, and as you can see here it's a scale, measure in points. If we increase the scale of the outline, you'll see that it will be more aligned more wide. Okay, what else? Yes. Okay, let's say that we have created this this shape, this rectangle, but we need that to give some rounding edges to this shape. So that's what this icon or this circle is for. By clicking over it and dragging to the center of the shape, we will be allowed to round the vertex or the edges. Okay, as you can see, we can make it a round edge here. Okay, perfect. So although we can rotate this image, okay, by placing the selection tool over the vertex, um, you you can see that the icon or the arrow selection change to these two arrows. Okay, at this point you can click and hold and then rotate the shape, okay, the position you need. Let's say that you need to position this shape in a perfect horizontal way. So for that, to activate the polar tracking, you need to press Shift, hold it, and then um, rotate the shape, and look, it will rotate, but in a polar way, okay, by um, certain angles, okay. If you want to free rotate this figure, you just need to release a shift, and then you will be allowed to rotate the shape, okay. Although by clicking over the shape and hold the click and dragging the mouse, we can move the shape, okay. We can move it all over the working space. Okay, so to scale, let's say that you need to scale this shape. You can do it by clicking over here and scale the shape, okay. But as the same as in Photoshop, if you don't want to lose the proportion of your shape, you need to press and hold Shift, okay. So you will always scale it in a proportional way. Okay, so let's continue with another tool. This one is another selection tool that it's called Direct Selection. The difference between these two is that by selecting direct selection tool, the white fill arrow, we will be able to edit the anchor points. The anchor points are these points that appear over here, okay. As you can see, with selection tool, they are not available to select, but with direct selection, the icon with the arrow with the white fill, you are able to select these points. This is very useful in case we need to transform, okay, the shape we have created in a non-regular way, okay. Let's say that for some reason we need to deform or transform this shape into this one, okay, and we can also select these anchor points and transform them, okay. And as you can see now, the rectangle shape, it's not longer available. To undo things, we can press Ctrl C, and then we will have our rectangle again. So let's continue with another tool. Okay, let's select the selection tool and let's delete this image. And let's go over here to the pen tool. Select this little icon of a pen, and let's start creating something. For example, To start working with this tool, you need to select a starting point somewhere. It doesn't matter, okay? And then, according to the definition of the line, that is the displacement of a point, we can build shapes, okay, or outlines by using this powerful tool. Okay, let's say that we want to make this irregular shape, okay, and okay, it's very important for you to remember that we need to finish wherever we begin the trace of this shape, so we can close all the edges and have a defined shape. Okay, so click here, and here we have our shape. This is very useful to create, as I told you, outlines, okay, or trace over images and vectorize those elements. Okay, perfect. Let's continue with another element that it's also very useful, and is this over here that is called the eyedropper tool. The eyedropper tool is very useful to duplicate color or patterns. For example, let's create a rectangle and another rectangle, and let's create a composition of shapes. Okay, and let's change the color of each one. Okay, let's say we want this one to be blue, this one to be green, and this one to be yellow. Okay, perfect. Okay. But for some reason, we need to duplicate this color. Okay, and we want to duplicate it over this blue shape, this rectangle shape. Okay, that's why we use this eyedropper tool. For example, we select eyedropper tool, and as you can see, if we click over the different shapes, the specific color of each shape appears over here. Okay, so this allowed us to copy the color, okay, the exact pattern or the exact number of color. Okay, for example, when I select this shape with the eyedropper by clicking it, over here appears the code, the exact code of this color. Okay, keep looking here, and I will select this other shape, and it will change. Okay, so that means that if I copy this code and I add this code over here, let's change the color over here, and I select enter, it will select the exact color of this shape. Okay, so let's do an exercise so this is more clear for you. Let's select this color, then the eyedropper, and then select this other shape. And as you can see, the eyedropper duplicates the color, but in another shape. Okay, this is useful, although when we are vectorizing images. Let me import an image, okay, so I can show you how it works. Um, let's find some images. Okay, desktop. Okay. Okay, this is good. Okay, so let's say that, well, this is, as you can see, this is a JPEG file. Okay, this is an image. And let's say that I want to know the specific or the exact code of this color. Because I want to duplicate that color on this shape. So for that, we go to the selection tool, we select the shape, and then we select the eyedropper. Okay, and then click over the color we want to duplicate. And here we have it, okay, the exact color over here. We have duplicated over here, and this is the exact color code for this color. Okay, so now we need to get started to vectorize your logo. In a previous class, I'll ask you to design your personal logo, okay, and take a picture or scan it. Okay, so please import your personal logo so we can begin to vectorize it. So I will import my personal logo. So I can show you how to do it. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, well, this is the logo of my business, and to start vectorize it, first of all, we need to create another layer. Okay, another layer that we will call it vectors. Okay. In this layer, we will include all the elements, all the vector elements of this logo, and this will be our template. Okay, so if we click over here, we can lock the layers, and in this, as the same as in Photoshop, we can enable the layers and disable the layer and enable the layers. Okay, well, so before we lock this layer, let's change the opacity. Okay, like make it transparent, so this image don't interfere with our work. For that, we need to select the layer and go over here. Okay, when we have the opacity here in transparency, okay, and here we have the opacity here. We can change with numeric precision. For example, if we want the 50%, as you can see, this value change, or we can click over this little arrow and drag this little circle and change the opacity. So I like to work with, let's say, 30%, okay, of opacity. For me that's okay, but for you it's free for you to choose. Okay. So now that we have already changed the transparency of this layer, let's block it so we can work with the pen tool. To vectorize this logo, we select pen tool and then we start trace all over the perimeter with the tool. Each element, okay? For example, like this, like this. Okay, this is a little bit tricky, okay, because we have this little radius or these pieces of circumference. Okay, so we need to place the tool where we consider the piece of this radius ends, and then click and hold the click, okay, and then drag with the mouse so we can adjust the line over the perimeter of the element. Okay? Once we think we have the the we have done the work, we release the click and then we can continue. Okay, so for example, for me at this point it's good, and then let's set it from here. Okay, so we have already two elements. Let's continue with this one. I suggest you to make zoom in so you have a better view of each element and your trace will be more precise. For example, let's do that radius, and then I think ends over here and over here. Okay, let's okay, let's continue trace each element. Okay, very good. Okay, so to trace this little element, this circle, instead of using the pen tool, I think it's more convenient to select this tool, is ellipse, and to trace a circle. Okay, and then by selecting the direct select tool, we can place the circle as per it fits. Okay, for example, for me that's okay. So let's continue with all these elements, and when you have finished, we just need to duplicate the pattern of the colors. In your case, maybe you don't have defined the colors of your logo, but you will need to. Okay, at least I'll ask you to select 3 different colors. Okay, you can choose between the complementary colors, the tertiary colors, or the secondary colors. Okay, if you have some doubts about how to combine colors, please check again the slideshow that I uploaded to Blackboard. Okay, so let's continue with the activity. Okay guys, so when you have finished tracing your perimeter of your logo, your work probably look more or less like this. Okay, let's make zoom out, and as you can see, if we hide this our template layer, we'll have this, the vectors. Okay, now we can manipulate each element of our design as we can or as we wish to. Okay, see, we have isolate each element. the next step is to, or for you to give a color to your logo. In my case, because I have already defined the colors of my logo, I will import again the original file of the logo. Okay, probably in your case, you will have to select the direct selection tool. Remember this arrow with white fill? You can click here over the arrow or just pressing in your keyboard the letter A. Okay? The letter A corresponds to direct selection and the letter V corresponds to the selection tool. So, as you can see, we can change between direct selection tool and selection tool just by pressing A and V. Okay, so for example, let's say that I want that all these elements to color all these elements in black. So let's select that. Okay, first select direct selection with the letter A with your keyboard, then select the vector, then press and hold shift and select the other ones, and then go to this window, the fill, then click twice, and then you will be able to select the color you want to assignate to these elements. For example, in my case, let's say that I want them to be black, and then click OK. And okay, okay, this one, it's in gray because I accidentally changed the transparency. Okay, for example, so you can see how this function or how this work. Let me show you. I will click over this element, this gray, and go here to transparency, and if you can see that the opacity is in 59%, but if I change it to 100%, this element will be the same color of the group as the group. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so you need to do the same thing to your logo. Okay, trying to combine as better as you can the color. Okay, using the chromatic cycle and the theory we reviewed the previous classes. Okay, but in case that you have already defined the colors of your logo, just like me, let me show you how to duplicate the color of your original logo to this vector version of your logo. Okay, we will use this tool that I previously showed you how to use it, the eyedropper. Okay, so let's import the original file of this logo again, so we can duplicate the colors. Let me import the logo again here. Okay, now let me just scale. We only need the reference of the colors. For example, if you can see, these colors are in a brown hue. Okay, so what we need to do is to select by clicking here the direct selection tool, this element, and well, all the elements that are the same color. Okay, in this in my case, in my logo, in your case, well, in your design. Okay, for me this element is brown, this element, and all these elements. Okay, these elements. Okay, so then we need to click over here the eyedropper tool and make zoom by clicking out, holding it, and scrolling the mouse. Okay, okay, it's okay. And then select this. So as you can see, all these elements, we duplicate the color from this element to all these elements. Okay, I missed one, so I will select it again and then go to the eyedropper and then duplicate the color. Okay, so as you can see, I've duplicated the color. So let's continue duplicating the colors so it matches perfectly. Okay, I missed this one. I don't know why it changed color, but it doesn't matter. Let me change it. Okay, perfect. Very good. So now that we have the correct color code in each element, we don't need this element anymore. Okay. For example, let's say that you want to add a background to your logo, just as me. Okay. So what you need to do is to find the background. You can search for it in the internet, just like I'm gonna show you right now. For example, and we will search here in images. And for me, I like this background. Okay, it's kind of colorful. So download. Um, Download the file, please. Okay, by save images. And in my case, I will save it in downloads. Okay, you can save it in your desktop if you want, or also in downloads. For example, here is just remember the name of the file and save. Okay, let's return to Illustrator and then go to your files. Okay, I will go to downloads and here is my background. All what I need to do is to drag it and place it. Okay, it's kind of, it's pretty big, okay? But it doesn't matter, we can scale it. By, remember, pressing shift so we don't lose proportion, and we will scale it. Here, okay. Well, so at this point, what we need to do is to take this background to the back, okay? So there are two different ways to do this. We can right click over the background and then select here in arrange and click send to back. Okay, and as you can see now our logo is in front of this background. Okay, the other way is to copy this this element or to cut it, okay, and open another layer. Okay, this will be the background. Okay, the background. Select the layer and place the background there. And then just drag the layer under the layer vectors. Okay, and there you have the logo over the background. Okay, so for example, this background, it's very colorful and it distracts the view, and it does not allow us to appreciate the logo. So I will lower the transparency. Okay, just like before, we select the background, then go here to transparency, and then here in opacity, and let's change it to like 10%, maybe a little bit more. Okay. Let's say that for me that's okay. Okay, so here is an example of what you need to do with your logo, and what we have left to do is to save the work. Okay, we will save the work by go over here in File and clicking Save As. Okay, and then choose the where you want to save it. Okay, in my case it's okay here, and let's name it just like example, and here just as in Photoshop we can select the format. Okay, we can save us as a PDF or as an AI. Okay, so I will ask you to save it as a PDF file. Okay, and then just click Save. Here just keep it as default and save PDF. Okay, so then automatically when your work is ready, or the exportation have finished, you will have your PDF file here available for you to see it. Okay, so for the logo creation, this is all you need to do. Okay, so I hope you find this tutorial useful, and I have nothing else to say but to thank you, okay, for your attention. If you have any doubt, please let me know, and I will come gladly to help you. Okay.